Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nelson, this is Rogerio. We're from RNC Personal Actuarial Advisors, and in the last couple of weeks we've had a mountain of inquiries just on a financial state of the world we live in and what the do's and don'ts of what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. So I thought we'd just start on this platform to answer the questions that every South African household should be asking.
Yeah, so I think let's kick straight into it, and let's talk short-term insurance. Now, we're living in a really uncertain time. Things are a bit crazy at the moment. From a risk management perspective, what should we be doing? And two, how can we save premium? People are struggling at the moment, losing jobs. How can we save a bit of money?
So I think saving a bit of money, let's tackle that one first, is, most companies they don't have as much stock on the roads as they do at the moment. Some of them have got equipment at the house and not at the office anymore. They've got lower stock levels. So just make sure that your insurance policy is updated. Lower those goods in transit if it is. If it isn't, please don't remove it because there is still heavy risk. Make sure you're probably going to have to increase your theft cover and make sure you've got SASRIA cover because the risk of looting is higher. So I think those can be decreased. Simple things that you can do to help just around the house is make sure that you start your car. Because yes, you've got roadside assistance and they'll come out and jumpstart your car, but they won't replace the insurance company won't replace your battery if it goes flat. Then you're in for, 4,000 or 5,000 rand. Another simple thing now that it's autumn going into winter, the leaves are clogging up the gutters. Make sure you clean those out, avoid those flood claims. Because maintenance of the house and your car is your responsibility. That's in your insurance policy. So just make sure you do small things like that, and you should be fine.
And then else, people are starting to work from home. Many people are working from home, and employers are actually. This could be a permanent feature going forward with some employers. How does that change the risk from an employer perspective with workers?
So I touched on it. If you do have any equipment or PCs going into your employee's house, just update your policy schedule. But I think the biggest risk is going to be the cyber risk, because you have a responsibility to keep your clients' information safe. It's Poppy. We've all heard of it. Maybe we don't know what it is, but we've heard of it. And we have to protect against that. So make sure that your firewalls are in place, your antiviruses, and over and above, have cybersecurity. It's South Africa, I think, is in the top 3 countries that are susceptible to cyber risks. So there is insurance cover out there. It's not expensive. So ask and inquire about that because it is important.
Yeah, well, that's true. There was a stat out that hackers have never been as busy as they are right now.
Absolutely.
Let's go to the third question. Yeah, credit shortfall. Lots of people have been asking it. People, again, they're struggling. They need to save money. Is it worth it? What is it? Is it worth it?
So credit shortfall is when you buy a car of 300,000 Rand. With finance and all the rest of interest after the fact, you're going to end up only owing the bank about 360,000. So you write off the car on the first month. The company pays you 300,000, but then you still have to pay the bank the extra 60,000. So you end up paying the bank every month for a car you don't even have. That's where credit shortfall comes in. They will pay for that 60,000. Good tip though is that is only good for about a year or 2 years, because after a while you're going to owe the bank less than the retail value of the vehicle. So as soon as that happens, you should remove the cover because it doesn't get removed automatically and you pay premiums for it. So look, it's only 100, 150 Rand a month, but every cent counts in these times.
How do I know when's the right time to actually do it? Like you're saying, do I do it? Does my broker do it? Where does the onus lie?
I think remind your broker to do it. I think set a reminder for about 18 months. 18 months into the term of your vehicle finance. I think that's a good time. Yeah, I think let's switch it up a bit to the unknown. Let's talk about markets. What's happening over there? What should clients be doing?
Okay, so yeah, I think globally, locally, we're starting to see lockdowns being eased. And with that, positive sentiments creeping into the economy, meaning that, the economy is kind of, absorbing it. And you can see that's why we've had a bit of a market rally. And that's globally as well as locally. So in March, when COVID-19 really came into play, we had a decrease of 35%. Now, guys, this is a proper crisis. I mean, if we look back in 2008, the global financial crisis, the drop was 41%. The difference, however, was the global financial crisis. That drop of 41% took 9 months, whereas the COVID-19 crisis, minus 35%, happened in 3 weeks. Okay, so it was extremely quick. But And because of that, it basically caused a lot of panic. And now people are asking, listen, do I just put money under my mattress type of thing? No, you don't do it. We've had a crisis. We've gone through the bottom already, okay? Now it's about recovery. How long that recovery is a different question, but a recovery there will be, okay? So people aren't putting money into a black hole. It will come back. I think over the short to medium term, we're going to feel the effects of lockdown, and that's globally and locally. It's going to be tough for businesses out there. So businesses with strong balance sheets and low debt, etc., they should make it through. And then there's definitely light at the end of the corona tunnel. Over the long term, if you're ready to invest for 3 to 5 years, based where valuations are at the moment, there will be a recovery. Humans we've had many crises over the past, and we've gone through every single one of them, and we'll get through this one too.
So, if you're saying markets have gone down, surely things are cheap. Is now the right time to invest?
Yeah, look, every person's got their own circumstances and that, but just generally speaking, absolutely, okay? Especially if you've got the 3 to 5 years. So there's two things at play here. So you've got that shares, equities, companies, their prices have all gone down. So if you're going to buy in the cheap, obviously, hopefully the return will give you a better return. Part two is cash rates have dropped. So over the past 4 or 5 years, people in their bank account were earning 7, 8%, okay? Because in this year, in the last 4 or 5 months, the interest rates have dropped by 2.75%. So what you're earning in the bank, and what you're going then compared to now you're going to be earning 4 or 5%. Inflation's at around 3, 4%. So you're just beating inflation. So if you want to earn a good return of 5% above inflation, we call that a real return. You're not going to get it in cash. Okay, cash is not king anymore. Especially if you've got over 3 to 5 years. Invest that money because I do see a low interest rate environment for a couple of years before it increases, but increase it also will at some stage.
All right, and we've had a lot of inquiries about retirement funds, retirement annuities, post-retirement, the guys who have already retired, their living annuities, their life annuities. What you guys be doing?
Okay, so I think number one, before you do anything, I challenge you to draw up a COVID-19 budget. Okay, things are very different at the moment. We're spending much less on petrol because firstly, oil prices dropped and people aren't driving around anymore. Your interest expense on your loan, on your debt is dropped as well. Your groceries bill has increased, okay? And your entertainment expenses, we can't really go out anymore at this stage. It's also decreased. So I think redo your whole budget. Come up with a COVID-19 budget. Tighten the belts a bit because things are tough now. People are getting retrenched, salaries have dropped. So things are really, really tough at the moment. And there's a lot of uncertainty. So you know what? Tighten what you can. Based on that, then you know how much you can afford to actually invest into your retirement annuity, into your tax-free savings account, or any other investment for that matter. Okay. If you can't afford it for your daily living, then providers are offering retirement annuity contribution holidays. So take advantage of them. Lower your contribution if you have to. If you have to really cancel it, but that must be like almost your last resort, then you stop it for now, for 3 months. Because after 3, 4 months, review it. If that affordability, if you've got another salary increase or whatever the case is, things are looking better, then you've got to up that contribution rate to the required amount so that you can meet your retirement goals once you retire.
And the living annuity?
Yeah,
with the drawdown rate, I see that's gone up to 20%.
Okay, so let me tackle that one then. The living annuity, Tito actually signed it this week, 1st of June. It's effective. People who are in retirement have a living annuity, draw from it every month. And that used to be, you could draw between 2.5% and 17.5%. That has been amended now. It can be as low as 0.5% and as high as 20%. Again, trying to help people with cash flow issues at the moment. And that's you can do that at any time. You don't have to wait for an anniversary. So if you have to do it, by all means, do it. Okay, you have to survive. Things are extremely crazy now. It's about survival, but please do not panic. Okay.
I think what we need to remember is that there is going to be life after COVID-19, which we need to provide for as well.
Absolutely.
Tell me, the big bad world of offshore and global investing. Is that a good idea? Should we be sending some money that side? And if so, how much?
Okay. Personally, I think offshore is crucial. The rand actually hit 17 rands. It's come back quite a lot recently. But yeah, the benefits of offshore are there, guys. If you want to invest in South Africa, it's like investing in a tiny little pool when you've got a whole ocean to invest. So there's so many opportunities in the ocean that you can't have access in this pool. So the likes of a Zoom, no one knew really about Zoom. Fast forward 6 months, it's now bigger than the 7 largest airline companies in the world, okay? But you don't have access to that in South Africa. And the same like your Amazons and your other tech stocks.
Is South African Airlines not a good investment?
Let's not go there. For now, let's just talk about Zoom right now. So you've got that. You've got the opportunity set so much bigger. Secondly, inflation in South Africa is high relative to most developed countries, and because of that differential, that means naturally, okay, and there's other factors at play, but naturally, the rand will depreciate over time, and that's going to give you an extra 1% or 2%, whatever the case is. So you're going to get another return pickup there, and the main benefit is diversification. In these uncertain times, diversification is the only free lunch that you get in investments, so you milk it. Okay, it's really important. So diversify across different regions, different sectors, and you can't do that if you don't have offshore exposure. So that's question number one. Would I invest? Absolutely. How much? The starting point is 30%. And the reason why I say that is because CPI, our inflation basket in South Africa, 30% of it is driven by imports, which means it's driven by offshore currency. And you want to hedge that. You want to reduce that mismatch risk. So you have 30% of your investment portfolio in offshore investing, in offshore investments. But again, you've got to look at it. Every client's got their own circumstances, and that's why I urge you, speak to your financial advisor, make sure that you're in full-on consultation with them, because they will help you with this type of decision. There are clients who are up to 50, 60% with 60% offshore exposure, and it's perfectly understandable. They definitely invest offshore. I would say the figure's around 30%, but it definitely can be more.
So offshore investing is more has this perceived prejudice for the rich and famous. What about the auntie in Richards Bay who doesn't have much and also wants to invest? Is it for her?
That perception, guys, technology has evolved. I mean, anyone can invest. The auntie in Richards Bay, she can invest for as little as 500 Rand a month. And it's not technical, it's not expensive, it's doable. It's actually really efficient. So anyone, really anyone can have exposure to any offshore market and currency for that matter.
Is there a minimum investment for these type of things, or?
Yeah, the minimum, on a debit order, generally it's around 500 Rand a month if you really want to know.
That's low.
It's low. Anyone can do it.
Fantastic news. All right, so wrap up. What do you reckon are the main takeaways that we should be doing in our investment world?
Okay, yeah. So during COVID-19 lockdown, things are crazy. Number one, don't believe everything you read. There are lots of social platforms out there. There are a lot of opinions out there which aren't necessarily based on facts. And we've seen it from different queries that we get. When you look at the base, it's not entirely accurate. So do not believe everything you read. Check the credibility. Who's the source of that information before you actually believe it. Secondly, I think, guys, I challenge you, draw up that COVID-19 budget. I think it's crucial at this stage. Things are really, really different, and that will drive the rest of your actual financial decisions across short-term insurance, life insurance, investments, local or offshore, whatever the case is. So draw up that COVID-19 and review it every 3 months. Thereafter, look at the options that the providers are giving you from a short-term insurance investment and long-term insurance perspective. Most importantly, I think you need to engage with your advisor at this time. When things are great, everyone carries on because things are good, and that's awesome. But when things are tough, this is when your financial advisor should come to your aid, should really hold your hand, take emotion out of any decision that you make. Let's make it on fact, let's make it on proper, decent strategy. You're paying these advisors and these brokers for that matter every month, so use them as much as possible. I don't know if I've missed anything.
I think just from our side, go discuss the different options with the different insurance providers. But just something that you can do at home is review that will, guys. Make sure that it's up to date. A lot of people haven't looked at their will for 20 years. So let's please, guys, just review it. Make sure that it's up to date and you have an updated copy. If you have any questions on any of these topics, I know sometimes it can get a bit technical. Please, our contact details are on the screen. Feel free to give us a call, ask us some questions, and we can see if we can help each other out.
Be safe out there, guys. Thank you very much for your time.
Take care.
Cheers, bye.